Recorded live from the secret underground lair of Crimson Cowl Comics and Collectibles, this is the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast.
The following issues may contain spoilers. Let's go dollhouse shopping while stores are still open. I'm Anthony.
I'm Kirby.
And I'm Katie.
Welcome to issue number 303 of the Crimson Cowl Comic Club podcast. Every time we record, we talk about comic books. We won't have a club discussion on this episode, but as a little teaser for upcoming episodes, we have the final issue of Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, Deadpool and Wolverine World War III number 2, the one-shots for Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime, as well as the What If Donald Duck Became Wolverine. So those are some upcoming club discussions in future episodes. But on this episode, we're going to have weekly reviews. That's where we go back and forth and we talk about the books that we've been reading. They could be new, they could be old, but we're going to talk about them there. Then in the news segment, we're going to combine all of the June previews into one episode to make sure they're all out there in timely order for the listeners and the viewers to take all of our suggestions for the upcoming previews catalog so they can pre-order everything that we talk about, the things that we are excited for. So we're going to cover all the catalogs, the Marvel, the DC, and the giant catalog with the independent publishers, the merchandise, the apparel, the collectibles, and all that fun stuff. So that is the lineup for our show, but we are going to kick it off here with the weekly reviews. First up is a book called, let me get it, it's kind of washed out here on the video. Here we go. Vamp and Curmuffin. This is a 20-page, all-ages, cute and spooky black and white comic. Curmuffin needs a new dollhouse, but monster shopping for one isn't so easy. The town's toy store has a few to choose from, but one is distinctly different from the others. Vamp and Curmuffin's monster natures are tested. What will happen in Vamp and Curmuffin, A Monster Dilemma? This is a brand new comic that is done by Kevin Wolf from Happy Wolf Art. If you go back in the feed, we had Kevin not only for a creator interview talking, teasing this project and talking about the California Kids, which are available now through him. And then he was also on our last actual regular club episode, joining in with the club discussion and weekly reviews and all that fun stuff. So since then, we got these books in the mail. Myself and Kirby got our copies of Vamp and Curmuffin, the black and white editions. And so we're going to give kind of a little preview, but we highly encourage people to reach out to Happy Wolf Art 1 over on Instagram if this barcode comes up or not. Otherwise, just search Happy Wolf Art 1 over on Instagram to order your very own copy. So we're going to kind of do a little kind of reaction slash teaser to this book. This was a lot of fun. Kirby and I have been on the same page when it comes to getting these stories, whether it's to fight a Hessian or to get the California Kids. So we're always excited to have some Kevin Wolf art, Happy Wolf Art in our hands once again. But yeah, this is a fun little story about a vampire, a Dracula type of guy, and his daughter, and Curmuffin. And Curmuffin basically wants a dollhouse fitting for Vampy, the little doll here, realizing the what I think is described as a pink, this pink one. We'll see that in a colorized version down the road. But basically, Curmuffin wanted to update this dollhouse to make it more fitting and having trapdoors and spookiness and all of the things here. Oh yeah, here we go. Haunted rooms, trapdoors, and a cute dungeon. So these are all basically the setup for the story of going to a toy shop to find a dollhouse that is well fitted for the little Vampy doll. So yeah, it's a fun little story, 20 pages, and what Kevin Wolf had teased is that there is an alternate ending in this book. We'll leave it at that. So it's kind of a fun concept. He had explained it kind of like the old, choose your own adventure type of books, and so it kind of just has that idea of, hey, you just read the story. Well, here's another ending to it. And a fun little bonus what if, basically. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Highly encourage you to check that out. We'll jump over to Kirby though to talk about his reaction and thoughts on Vamp and Curmuffin.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. A little bit different route than I expected to go with it, but yeah, it was fun because it basically came off an idea of a cover from Archie Madhouse, and it just that story wasn't in the book, and so he decided to try and make up that style story, and he did an excellent job. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I like all the characters. I like how they played it out with the different doll houses, and it's going to be kind of hard to go find a random haunted dollhouse to start out with. But yeah, he did a good job coming up with the concept to make it fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to the colored version.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I love, like how detailed he can be, like, and he's talked about it too with like the simplistic designs of some of his characters, like the California kids, and going for that, a simplistic design, but a lot of his background work and object work and landscape work, he gets very detailed with, not only for the house that they live in, but the type of carpet or floor, whatever they're sitting on there. And looking closely at that, it's just like it's one of those where these are all just individually drawn. It's not just
Yep.
the one shape that is duplicated and copied and pasted, which is fine too, because it's definitely a time suck to go through that. But when you look at those details, just being like, oh yeah, these are all just individually drawn, and then you just look at just some of like the skylight windows and the paintings and certain things that are just in the details, especially with the houses. But
Speaking of that, it's like in the first page, the stained glass.
okay,
I was
yeah,
trying to guess, and if he did sneak something in there or not. It kind of looks like someone's sitting with a pen, kind of like in an artist position right in this area, like they're holding a pen or a pencil and stuff. And I was curious what
okay.
was up with
Oh yeah, I see it now. I didn't notice that beforehand, but
like kind of snuck in there. I figured he'd throw some type of design in there, but yeah, really not positive. But
that
definitely
alludes.
looks like a hand holding a pen to me.
Yeah, I could definitely see that now that you call it out, and that alludes to a another fun thing where there's a bunch of gravestones in this story. So just read the fine details, Kevin Wolf.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kevin Wolf gives you a reason to look into the background for things and everything. So, but yeah, I guess I never noticed that. It's gonna almost like a little magic eye trick there, where yeah, now
yeah. It's like even now that you mentioned the way background and stuff, I also just noticed some other interesting
oh,
things from our '80s past and stuff, things that stick out. But yeah,
uh, good, good. So yeah, if you're wondering what some of this stuff is, then definitely reap out. Ooh, that's a little spooky tease. Reap out to Kevin Wolf. Reach out to Kevin Wolf from Happy Wolf Art One over on Instagram,
there
and
was one I was curious about when they go down the stairs. Like, are those actual monsters' eyes, or are they just eyes that are painted on the staircase? So
yeah,
either they got a lot of monsters in that basement.
I wonder if that's something that will be revealed in a colored version to kind of get a little more. But yeah,
Yeah,
because on one aspect I could see it that it's just yeah, it's shadows and then it's a bunch of eyes popping out. Because there's definitely a lot of
yeah, he's got a lot of stained glass stuff and picture stuff in the background, and I'm really curious how it's going to look once it's colored. So, but yeah,
cool.
very happy with what he did. Awesome job. And he put it out so quick. So,
Yeah, exactly. It just yeah, he's got a good work ethic over there, so I'm excited for more from him. But definitely check out our creator interview with him to get his life story on his creative journey for art, and as well as our last episode of Club where he hangs out and talks about comics with us. So, and then he's on an episode of Cartoonist by Night as well. So we are all on the Kevin Wolf train over here. So check that out. That is Vamp and Curmuffin. We'll jump over to Kirby with the next one.
all right, we got Kent Menace versus Technofreak one shot. I think it's a one shot. It's got number one on it. It's laid out really nicely because it gives you the history of how they decided to come up with this. Basically, two sets of creators. The creator creators from Kent Menace and the creators from Technofreak basically did it up where the first half of the book was Kent Menace done by those creators, second half done by the Technofreak creators, and then they have a little bit of crossover in between with each one. It's kind of fun because like this is Belinda Miller, Scott Braden. Oh, well, actually, we do got Scott Braden, Frank Fosco, Cortland Brugger worked on, and John Charles worked on. John Charles worked on the second half, and they worked on the first half. And John Charles worked with Tom Newell, but Tom Newell was, or actually it might have been Charles, was worried about trying to, because if you're not, and it's kind of hard when you're competing with other artists and putting different artists in the same book and stuff. And he was all worried about it and tried to get the artist for the Ken Menace side to do his artwork and stuff on the Technofreak side too, so it could be more similar. But I liked it way better the way they did it, because you get this, and it's got that old school feel to the storyline, the imagery, the way it's laid out, like the old pirate stories and stuff like that. Just that simplistic look to it. And there starts out with Ken Menace basically meeting up with some people, and they're on a mission of sorts, and he hops in this boat with this guy, and they're going on, and this big squid attacks them. Ends up being the guy's pet. That's the guy that's driving the boat, and he's got Kent Menace has the special like spear with this glowing tip on it, which I don't know. They don't really give a background of why he was given that weaponry. That's why I was kind of confused, because I'm positive this is a one shot. But then we got this comic book character that I should have wrote names down and stuff. But he gets on Kent Menace about being part of a comic book. It's like you're stuck in a 4-color fantasy. He pulls the page, and that's how Kent Menace gets stuck into the Technofreak world. And they parody a lot of things in here, which are awesome. So you got our dog and duck bar with the dog and the duck sitting up in the window. And it's like, but he gets thrown into that world, and he already knows. It's like Technofreak knows Kent Menace from the comic books. Kent Menace knows Technofreak from the comic books. So they're in different worlds, but yet they have read each other's comics. And then they get crossed over in here and have to deal with this comic book character that's kind of like trying to get him. I don't know if he's just trying to leave Kent Menace in the Technofreak world or what, because Technofreak never crosses back to the Kent Menace side of things. But it's just, I love how our cybernetic cat just throughout the whole thing constantly picks on the artist for Technofreak. He's like, you couldn't even be bothered to draw a taxi, but they're talking about a taxi, how they got there and stuff. It's like things he doesn't like to draw and stuff. The cat just kept picking on him for. We get, dang it, I lost that page now. But there's a good parody in there too. I can't think of it now. But yeah, there's, like we were talking with the other book, with the 80s parodies and stuff. This has a few of those things that stick out throughout this book. And yeah, it's just, it wasn't really like they battled or completed any type of overall mission or anything. They hook up with 2 other characters, they plan out some stuff, and nothing ever really comes of it other than that. I mean, we get Kent Menace and Technofreak get into it, start messing with each other. Kent Menace hits Technofreak so hard he kills him at one point, and they sit there and bring him back. But this, I just can't figure out what this character's whole overall plan was. I mean, he basically put the group together, caused some issues, but it's like I think it was just to get everybody together, because basically they end up partying, drinking. He's got this giant reset button that he pushes at one point. I don't know if that's just to send everybody back to where they belong or what's going on, but that was a little bit confusing in here. But I like how they threw in an extra story in here of our Technofreak characters going off into space, and we just get to see them. What the heck was? It's like all of a sudden everything just start. He's up in space on a planet. Next thing we know, he's flying. He gets the ability to fly and stuff. We get there's another parody right there where you get a Swamp Thing like character put into the book, and it's just we see the characters getting all these different abilities, going through these different points of time. But even our little comic book guy getting shrunk down at one point. He's got the really long boots now and stuff because he's just a little kid, but still wearing the guy's clothes and stuff, checking out a comic book rack. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't really, it was fun. It was fun meeting all the characters and stuff, but there was no real mission or purpose overall in this book. I think it was just to put the two characters together in one book, because in the beginning thing where they talk about the two different sets of creators talk about deciding to do this, it was basically they were sitting down at the bar one night and just decided to put the two characters together, and they end up wanting them to battle. I guess they didn't want them to do anything special mission or nothing like that. But and then you get a big Q&A in the back of the book. But I think it was just to introduce the two characters together. And this is the closest thing we had to a battle, is when he just about killed the guy's pet octopus. But that, and when he knocked out Technofreak. But yeah, it was. I like the characters. I don't really know much about Kent Menace on more than the Technofreak character and the Cybercat. But yeah, it was all right for a one shot, but no real purpose to it. So I was kind of confused by that part. But it does teach you a lot about the creators of both groups and stuff like that, if you read all that deep into it.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right, we're gonna jump over to Katie. What you got for us?
All right, this week I have Adventure Time, Volume 3. This is published by Kaboom, which is the young readers imprint of Boom in partnership with Cartoon Network. The show was created by Pendleton Ward, and this book was written by Ryan North and illustrated by Shelley Peroline and Braden Lamb. So this follows the characters from the show. We have Jake the dog and Finn the human, and then all of their friends like Lumpy Space Princess, Marceline the Vampire Queen, the Ice King, and Beamo, their little video game computer character. So we have two stories in here. There's a little kind of a goofy one where Ice King's up to his usual shenanigans, bothering Finn and Jake, and it turns into a choose your own adventure story. So you get to follow, it probably is not going to show, but you get to like follow the different lines between what the characters say and do, and see the different options about how they're going to get Ice King to give them back their free will in this case. I should mention this is a kids cartoon, so it's never like super like dangerous, like we talk about like things like like free will and computer viruses and stuff, but Finn and Jake always win in the end so far. And then the main story is about Finn, Jake, and Marceline are going to play a video game on Beamo, who is a sentient little computer / Game Boy / calculator thing. And they're going to play Super Gut Punch 3. And they're inside playing the game, and they notice that the game was way too easy. So when they come back to our world from playing the game, they find Beamo talking all weird and honestly looking like he's having like a stroke. And they're like, Beamo, what's wrong? And it turns out Beamo was hacked, and the computer game was hacked, and there's a virus. So they're trying to find the culprit behind this virus. It is a wizard named Elbow. So they're having a big wizard competition to try and find the wizard who did this. And then they learn that, well, none of the wizards they know did this. So they're like, well, who's this Elbow? And they go back into the game and they find that Elbow is the name of a computer program created by a hacker called Cool Guy, spelled Kewl. And they have to then fight this virus, and it starts spreading to all the other robots and machines. And let's see, we have there's a joke in here about how Finn never installed and then rebooted BMO after all the updates that needs to be downloaded to them. So that was pretty funny. And then they confront Cool Guy, and he's kind of like evil but wants to be good. Like his moral path is having a hard time balancing each other out. And unfortunately the bad part of the takes over him, so he ends up being kind of evil for a while, and the gang have to creatively fight him and stop the virus from spreading without hurting their computer friends. And they end up going back into the video game and confronting the final boss and defeating all the bad pixels. And then Cool Guy is just a normal guy named Randall, and he's back to being good now, and BMO is their own cheerful self, and all of the other machines are good. So I will say, if you're not familiar with Adventure Time, you haven't watched it, you'll still be able to follow along. I don't know that you'll necessarily get the tone of the book. Like reading this, for me, the voice actors on the show really are what sell it. So having that in mind made it easier to appreciate and read this book with the different like intonations that I felt the characters needed. If you have watched Adventure Time and you're like, wow, that was such a great show, I would, really like some more episodes of that. There are multiple volumes of comics for Adventure Time, and this will definitely hit that, give you the same feeling. And I saw there's a compendium coming out this fall of Adventure Time comics. So a lot of these are, probably harder to find at this point, but if you'd like to read them, there's a hardcover coming soon. And then the author is Ryan North, who, Anthony, from Squirrel Girl. And I feel like this is the perfect person to write Adventure Time because it's imaginative, it's goofy, it's whimsical, it's creative. It's just a little bit eccentric. And they're perfect for this type of story. Incidentally, if someone's listening and they didn't like that, eccentric style, quirky bit of humor, then if you like Adventure Time, you might like this book. If you don't, then you will not. And then at the bottom of each page, there's kind of like little parenthetical phrases about the author talking about what's going on the page. And then so I know that's a thing that Ryan North does throughout their creation. So it was really cool to see that carried over and started here, because I believe this predates the Squirrel Girl run. I enjoyed this. I would read more Adventure Time comics. I don't think it's a must read, but it's good for, like I said. I would say if you do enjoy that run of Squirrel Girl, you'll probably like this too. And honestly, it's such a fun cartoon that I'd say give it a shot. This is a really good all ages book. It's perfectly fine for kids, and I enjoyed it. This is my first foray into Adventure Time comics, and I read them again. So that's Adventure Time, Volume 3 from Kaboom. Check it out.
Very cool. Yeah, when you said Ryan North, I'm like, okay, I'm listening. I've never seen the show. I've heard nothing but good things. So it's just
It is really good.
Eventually I'll have to be watching it, but
yeah.
Cool. All right. Brand new Keen Spot book here called Robot Plus Girl #1. A robot on the brink of obsolescence. Is that how you pronounce that? Obsolescence? Wanders aimlessly through the city, ready to give up on life and donate himself for spare parts until a girl stumbles across his broken, discarded body. In appreciation of her compassion and empathy, the robot attempts to help the girl out with a financial windfall. However, unbeknownst to him, his procurement of funds brings unwanted conflict with the powers that be. As the girl tries to fix the robot's ethical oversight, he gets apprehended by unknown assailants and must now fight for the life he once wanted to give up on if he ever wants to see his newfound friend again. This comic is done by Mike White and Valerie Cutts. Um, this was a lot of fun. I was drawn to some of the variant covers that I've seen and read a synopsis. I'm like, all right, I'm down for it. And yeah, you open up in a society where far off into the future, or maybe like next year, talking about robots and AI and things being obsolete, and you're in kind of there's a lot of dialogue with this little robot guy who is going through and kind of talking about how he's been replaced and he really has no more purpose, and he goes around, he tries to help people by simply, he helps a woman that is being robbed right off on the opening pages, and he tries, he scares off the robber, and he mentions how he's gonna call the police for her, and basically just goes on his way, and he's just kind of basically kind of meandering through the world trying to figure out, what is his purpose. A cute little moment where he comes up, nice little doggy here. So just a nice little image there of the little robot and a little dog. Um, when we first see her, is basically standing on the street and offering free hugs to people, and her story is kind of aligning with the robot in the sense of they're both observing how society is reacting to the advancement of technology and AI, and the lack of human contact, and the need for humans and stuff like that. And there's kind of an adorable moment where the robot kind of gets in line and gets a hug as well, and she makes a comment just being like, oh, I don't think I've ever hugged a robot before. Like the fact that she's hugging random strangers that need a hug. um but then this sad little robot comes by as well. So that is basically the first half setup there, and so I don't want to give anything beyond there. But I think it did a really good job of just kind of setting the tone for both of these people being in the same kind of mindset of being very aware of what's happening around the world and their place in it, and if they even have a place in it anymore. And there's a lot of sadness in this issue. It is, advertised as an all ages book and everything, and but I think it just deals a lot with human emotions and being very realistic in that sense. But I'm very curious to see where this story is going to go with this kind of meeting of the robot and the girl, and them being kind of alone in this world that has no need for them anymore. So yeah, I very curious to see the direction of this. Very strong first issue. I really dug it. That's Robot Plus Girl, issue number 1.
Yeah, I'm not positive, but I think that's the comic that I was going to order, the Trencher style cover, which is a creator that Troy Dungear has a huge influence from. I think that's the book that had it from Keen Spot.
So a Keith Giffen-esque
Yeah.
type of cover.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really good. Oh, and I forgot because Keen Spot has the covers on the back here.
Okay.
I forgot that they always do that, which is always cool to see that. But yeah, it's perhaps that one maybe,
No, it must have been one of the other comics. Dang it!
or maybe it's one
It
of
had
the.
a bunch of stuff going on
Okay,
the cover, and then 2 characters with it. So unless
maybe
it was like issue 2, maybe.
maybe it's a blank one where you can commission Troy Dungara to do a Keith Giffen inspired Robot Girl. That's a free plug there, but reach out to Troy Dungara and maybe send him a blank cover of Robot Plus Girl. Okay, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to be talking about Monsters Are My Business, number 1. But just before that, I just wanted to mention, because it's kind of related to this, in Kent Menace, they bring up this thing about this monkey head with a hat on Kent's pouch that he carries around. And I was curious if that character was going to show up or not. But his name is Boss Monkey, And it's I was hoping to see that character more, or at least somewhat, because they talk about him in the beginning part a lot. But in Monsters Are My Business, we get Koala. That's a chainsaw wielding koala. So, and he's actually in here for a bit. But it starts out with Grizz, our main big biker type character, and he's chasing down a beast. This giant kind of has that feel of the character from Men in Black, that one giant one that they see the mouth when it's attacking them at one point. But yeah, they battle that out, and right away we're finding out that Koala died. Well, Grizz is talking about that he's dead. He got killed in the battle, but then eventually he comes bursting out of the creature with his chainsaw, and our little koala appears finally to join in on the battle. But yeah, I really like how they did this, because the koala doesn't talk. He'll make his little noises and stuff, but they're not talking back and forth, which is nice. So gives it more of a friendly pet type character feel to the koala. But yeah, they sit there and deal with that battle, and then they go off and they want to just kick back to their thing. But sadly, when he gets paid for finding this beast that is apparently eating kids, eating people, and he basically was on this mission to help this lady find a relative or whatever, she pays him with a big bowl of soup. And it's like, that's his payment. So they're not making money. They're hurting for cash. And then he used to work for an organization, apparently, and a member of the organization shows up and tells Grizz that, hey, we got this job, same old rates. We need you because, and Grizz is like, nope, I'm done. I'm not doing it no more. But then he explains to him that basically the kids that they sent in, the military crew that they sent in, disappeared. They've never heard from anybody again. And so he plays the whole innocence lost thing on Grizz and gets him to go and do the mission. Well, we find out that what's happening is a bunch of 1%ers, basically Hell's Angels, I guess you could play it off of bikers, but they're bikers that kind of got basically are kind of like different types of demons in some sorts, because you could see like here we got here they show them going to the hangout to deal with them, and when they get in there we see that like one guy for a beard has like octopus tentacles, another guy's got like eyeballs coming out of the side of his head and stuff bursting out of his head, and all the different bikers in the building look like it's like they'll either have like a weird pink octopus arm or one eyeball sticking out of their face or something. So they're all kind of must have got possessed in some way, shape, or form. But we find out that there's a person in charge of this whole thing that basically casts some type of thing that turned people into all these demons and stuff. And I really want to show a picture towards the back, but I'm not going to, because you got to check it out. But we happen to find out what the bikers are doing, why they have whatever they kidnapped and stuff, why they're holding it and what they're doing. And we get to see this, some kidnapped things that are kind of just, it's kind of a little sad part in there. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's done by Colin Bunn, Patrick Lunga, Marco Bracco, and Jim Campbell. And it's like anything Colin Bunn, I got no problem picking up. But I think I stupidly only ordered issue 1 just because I wanted to see what it was like and get the trade later on. And now I really wish I would have kept going with it. So I'm gonna have to pick them up. But yeah, chainsaw wielding panda. That's all I need. Yeah, these are a lot of fun. Don't really get much of the girl that they show on the cover with them. We just get to see Grizz and the panda mainly. I mean, she's basically driving the car and stuff like that mostly. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun by Dark Horse Comics.
Excellent. Jump over to Katie. What you got next?
Okay, I have The Haunted Bookstore, Gateway to a Parallel Universe, Volume 1. Art is by Meta Mayaki. Story is by Shinobumaru, and the character design is by Munashi Chi. It's published by Seven Seas Entertainment. This is the manga. There is also a light novel version of this. It stars a young lady named Kaori who lives in a bookstore between boundaries of the mortal realm and the spirit realm. And she mostly just kind of like hangs out, does some chores, and sells books to the different spirits and has a pretty peaceful life. And then all of a sudden, a exorcist who's been kicked out of like his family stumbles into their bookstore, and they end up forming a friendship and learning about the spirit world together. And he, he's like, well, I'm an exorcist, so I feel like, they're gonna be mad at me, they won't like me. But he ends up learning more about the different spirits in the spirit realm. And at the end of the book, we have a really touching story where these two little kids are cicada spirits. So like the insect, they are buried and hidden away for a very long time. They are alive and awake for a very short period, and they're perpetually kids. And then every 10 years, they re-go through this cycle of of birth, die, rebirth. And we had a very touching moment where Kaori is, playing with them, and she's promising them, oh yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. It's okay, don't worry, knowing that it's going to be 10 years before she sees them again. And just a really sweet moment about, dealing with loss and grief and persevering through that. So I thought this was going to be a slam dunk of a book for me. Unfortunately, it just didn't land for me. Um, a couple of things. I think it's probably simplified from the light manga, so it in places it just felt like really bland or almost like too simple. And I think, maybe if I had read this when I was younger, like say in middle school or high school, I think it probably would be a better fit. So somebody in that age range, I think will probably get more out of this. I wish they had leaned a little more into the genre of being haunted and spooky in the spirit realm and stuff, because like there's chapters in here of her just going about her chores in town and like going shopping and talking to people, and a couple of pages of that would be fine, but it's multiple chapters, and to me it just kind of bogged down the book. I sort of wanted to be like, okay, either, commit to being a cozy slice of life novel, commit to being an isekai story, or like a spooky ghost story. They tried to do all three, and it just didn't work, at least for me. I would be willing to give another volume or perhaps a light novel a shot, just because I do think it's a really cool concept that does have a lot of promise. But yeah, this is not what I expected it to be. I'm not going to say it's bad. It just didn't work for me. But, maybe somebody a little younger or not as far in their reading journey would enjoy it. Certainly a really cute concept, though, and A+ for creativity. That's my review of The Haunted Bookstore, Gateway to a Parallel Universe, the manga, Volume 1. Check it out and see if it's right for you, because every book has a person, and every person has a book.
Excellent. Yeah, when I read that title there, I assumed it was like a manga related because I'm like, oh, I didn't recognize that at all. But
Mm-hmm.
cool. Jumping over to my next one here. Um, this one caught my attention in the previews catalog. We are talking about Toxic Summer #1. Best friends Ben and Leo had the perfect summer planned after high school graduation. As lifeguards in the idyllic beach town of Port Dorian, they were planning for 3 months of hot guys, late night bonfires, and no regrets. Until a toxic spill of unknown properties on the beach transformed their dream summer into a waking nightmare. Now Port Dorian is flooded with panicked tourists. A local researcher is paralyzed while investigating the spill, and a horrifying pack of subhuman monstrosities is snatching beachgoers in the night. This is what sold me right here. Mix 1 part Riverdale with 1 part The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and drink it down fast because this bi-monthly horror shocker comes packed with enough acidic sludge, perverted beach maniacs, and ill will to ruin anyone's first summer away from home. This comic is done by Derek Charm and Frank Vetkovic, I believe. And speaking about Ryan North and working on Squirrel Girl, Derek Charm, if I'm not mistaken, also did a pass on some Squirrel Girl as well. So we've got some Squirrel Girl alums working on these books we're talking about today. Um, this was a lot of fun. This, reading through it, attractive title and awesome looking cover and all that kind of stuff. But then once they told me Riverdale plus Creature from the Black Lagoon, I'm like, well, now I have to buy it. All right, you did a good job. The only, I shouldn't be saying this, but if somebody says, oh, it's kind of like Buffy, meets, Beetle Bailey, it's just like, okay, I'm buying it. So this is one of those deals, but it did not disappoint. This is it's a bi-monthly book, and it feels a little heavier than a standard issue. So it's probably more probably in that 30-page range or whatever. But to give you an idea of some of the art on the inside here, as Derek Charm, I believe, is doing written, illustrated, and colored by Derek Charm, and it's lettered by Frank Vetkovic. But yeah, so you just basically get the setup of Ben and Leo. They're excited about being lifeguards, living this beach life summer until they get there, and there's a big warning about this toxic spill. And immediately they're kind of turned off and realizing everything's closed down. From there on out, the book kind of has this green tint to it just throughout the art and everything, even though we're not physically looking at the toxic spill. But from a design aspect, there's a lot of green that's kind of floating through these pages and everything. So it really sets the tone. But yeah, you see them just kind of just doing some crummy jobs on the beach as they're cleaning up some of the spillage and the things that are affected by it, and essentially just having an awful time. They do stumble across some creepy people that are very questionable in the water, and they're kind of wondering what's going on, if it's related to the toxic spill. There's a group of kids that are, likewise to their age that they're overhearing, and they're trying to figure out how to get invited to parties, and kind of like, all right, we need to find some kind of party in the summer, this crummy summer of ours. And so they're trying to make these connections, but it kind of keeps going back and forth. Here's a nice little teaser page. I just love the art style on this here, and just seeing this, whatever we're looking at here coming out of this mysterious spill. And this was just, it was a page turner. There was a lot to love in this. I won't show that stuff there. I think I pretty much showed as much as I can. This was a ton of fun. I think the biggest downside, yeah, it's just a double sized right there. A double sized Nightmare Beach Party right on the top. I would say the biggest flaw that this book has is that it is a bi-monthly book, meaning I have to wait for issue 2 a little longer, but it's going to be worth it because we are getting twice the content, at least in this first issue. But this was super fun. I am full on board here for whatever's happening in the rest of the series. It's got a lot of comedy in, which you would expect from somebody who had written some Squirrel Girl comics. It definitely brings in the horror element and just has very nice mix of all of that stuff. So I am fully on board for Toxic Summer issue number 1. And I was just checking my notes because I think that is everything for everybody here at the club for the weekly reviews. So just wanted to make sure before we move on. But yep, that'll do it. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to pick that up, but I decided to hold off, and I'm really glad you reviewed it. So I knew, but yeah, when I seen that first cover, I instantly thought Toxic Crusaders, the Toxic Adventure cartoon that they did. Those colors just pop. I love the way they did those.
Yeah. I just happened to notice this cool sunglass wearing shark in here, which I don't think is in the actual comic.
Oh, I thought when you were thumbing through the pages, it showed a shark. That's what I was curious about. One of them you showed had had them up in the corner or something.
Okay.
It's just-
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I see. Now I just happened to flip. It was like a sign in the back of the restaurant or whatever. So yeah, I guess it does. But full disclosure, I read this about 3 weeks ago, so I was trying to, for the most part, remember any kind of details. But yeah, now I'll have to flip through again since we have a bi-monthly comic. Just gives me time to read it again before the new one comes out. So,
it's-
but yeah, that was, it's a strong advertising ploy to kind of lure me in with mentioning two things I love there, but they definitely hit a home run. It's super, super fun. Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot I had this one sitting here. It's a very short review. I don't mind spoiling it because it is a whole entire book about a very short paneled comic strip, 4 panels. This is the Here Comes Charlie Brown, a Peanuts pop-up by Charles Schultz. We talked about this in the previews where I'm like, okay, it's a $15 book. It's a pop-out book for literally the first comic strip of what we would later know as Peanuts and Charlie Brown and all that stuff. But they're making a whole book out of it, out of 4 panels. And it's a cool little collector. If you are hardcore into Peanuts, I think you definitely want this. Content wise, you're not getting much out of it, but I will reveal it here. There's nothing to spoil for a comic strip that came out in what 1950, I think. Um, there is a little bio back here, but yeah, October 2nd, 1950. So looking at I just have to do it for a Zoom audience here, but a pop out book. And we see it in color and seeing, Charlie Brown, what he looked like back in 1950 in that very first panel. And you see him walking up and you see the kids kind of, mentioning, oh, yep, there goes good old Charlie Brown. Yep, good old Charlie Brown. You see them walking by, and then the last panel of that is just saying how I hate him, and that's how Peanuts started. If you ever get any kind of depressing, vibes out of these characters and the tone of those strips and the specials and some of that stuff, it all started with that very first comic strip and just saying how these random kids are just like, oh, I hate Charlie Brown. Like, look at the anger on that kid's face. The little girl there is probably not understanding why this
Yeah.
and I
and
don't
that's such an innocent version
did
of
he
Charlie
do?
Brown.
yeah. This is probably the most happy Charlie Brown has ever been shown.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But I'll say this, like, and what's cool, it has a nice like old scan of the original comic strip
Oh,
and
that's
stuff, and
neat.
you know it's a cool little experiment. Am I buying a pop-up book for the second comic strip of this? No. Am I doing it for other things that I love? I do like that concept. It's pretty cool. This is definitely for the hardcore fans. I just want to just be upfront about that when you see a $15 cover price for something that is 4 panels of comic, but it's definitely, I think, if anyone deserves it in the comic strip world, I think it's Charlie Brown. So yeah. And then, like I said, a little bio and history in the back. So they give you a little extra content there. But yeah, that was cool. That got buried in my stack there, and I'm like, you know what? I'll throw that in for a bonus little review there. So okay, and that was the longest that anyone's going to review a 4 panel comic strip. So that's going to do it for the weekly reviews. I'm sure there's YouTube pages that probably have like do 2 hours on those 4 panels. So that'll do it for the weekly reviews. We have a nice segment coming up right after this, which is the news.
And now, the news.
Welcome to the previews preview. We're going to do all of them for June previews for August 2024 and beyond. We're going to do all of them in one episode. Normally we break them apart. So we're going to start it off with the Marvel catalog. So the first one I have here, Exceptional X-Men #1. Let's see. Kate Pryde leads a team of all new X-Men. After the fall of Krakoa, Kate Pride is trying to get as far away from all things X as possibly can. She's just a degular bartender now. Definitely not getting ready to head up an all new team of wayward young mutants while avoiding the watchful gaze of Emma Frost. Nothing in this title but work. Hold on. Nothing in this title but work, dating, and staving off depression. That's it. I guess I'm not reading this right. That's it. No never before seen exceptionally X-Men to see here. Okay, there we go. So I guess it might just be a very Kate Pride centric first issue setup. I'm not going off of the physical catalogs this time for the Marvel ones, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm reading here. But I see Kate Pride. We had the fall of X and the start of the new era of the X-Men coming up here. I'm going to be dabbling in revisiting some of the characters I love. So I'll see what Kate's doing over with the exceptional X-Men #1. Jump over to Kirby.
Yeah, Deadpool team up #1 of 5. Wolverine, Crystar, Major X, Ghost Spider, Hulk. Rob Liefeld returns to Deadpool with the ultimate team up book. When you need some hired hands, Deadpool is your man. But when the Merc with the mouth needs assistance, he's got friends and frenemies from across the Marvel universe. It looks like you're just basically going to see those characters teaming up. I don't know if they're going to do one per book, because I could have swore the old Deadpool team ups were one person per book. So I'm guessing that's the way this is going to go, but I don't know. But as far as issue #1 goes, I love the homage to the Wolverine claw cover with having Deadpool's nose stuck at the top of the claws. And you got Deadpool holding his nose in the image.
That's an Amanda Connor cover too, so that's an awesome bonus. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Jump over to Katie. Anything from Marvel?
I didn't see anything new in Marvel for me right now, but I am open to a club pick. Other than that, it's just my regular Star Wars.
Cool. I'm going to jump over to my next one here. This one is Marvel 85th Anniversary Special one-shot. Hey, Ryan North right there at the top for the writer. In the far future of the year 50,000, the exploits of the heroes of the Marvel Age are the stuff of legend, half remembered but still celebrated. Come with us now on a tour of the greatest museum in all of the cosmos, in which the new surviving relics of those bygone days have been assembled. Each piece tells a unique story, but the contest of champions and how it wrought an end to an age of heroes, about the greatest triumph of Miss Marvel, and the final secret exploit of Excalibur, and more. Marvel's greatest storytellers gather to commemorate the whole of the Marvel history in a once in a lifetime celebration. I was in for it just because I buy a lot of the Marvel anniversary type of stuff. I saw Kamala Khan on the cover there, but I don't think I read that about the Ryan North being attached, so I can imagine some good comedy, especially since this takes place in the year 50,000. So that is a one-shot Marvel 85th Anniversary Special. I don't have the added information, but I'm just going to assume it's one of those $10 80-page books or so. So I'm excited for that one. Kirby?
Blood Hunters #1 of 5. I want to get down to this, but I was really happy when I seen that we have Hallows Eve on this cover. We got Dagger, Elsa Bloodstone, White Widow, and Hallows Eve. Marvel's newest team up takes to the streets to clean up the aftermath of Blood Hunt, namely hunting down the remaining vampires who threaten to spill innocent blood, including the deadly super vamps of the Blood Coven. But when Miles Morales, aka Spider-Man, gets caught in the crosshairs, need we say it, there will be blood. Don't miss the beginning of an epic new adventure. I did the first run of the Blood storyline, and now this is the first part of the next storyline, so I'm thinking about getting it. But yeah, I really enjoyed that Hallows Eve character when she puts on a different masks and gets that abilities and stuff with those characters. I want to know more about her, so I might check that out. And we got Erica Schultz again, Robert Gill. So
Cool. My last one for Marvel is Spider Society. Um, let's see here. Every Spider character you hold on here. Okay, yeah. It just goes right from the cover artist into a lowercase description. So, anyways, every Spider character you love, and some you haven't met yet. May the first meeting of the Spider Society commence. That's right. Every Spider character you love, and some you haven't met yet. Okay, it just repeated itself. All show up in the same room for the most crazy meeting in the multiverse has ever seen. That's right. Every Spider Person will be in the same room for the most crazy meeting in the multiverse has ever seen. Okay, this has got to be part of the. I thought it was like an error, but does it actually say that in the printed catalog where it just keeps repeating itself? Don't miss the start. Maybe
nope,
it's not.
it only does it once.
So yeah, it does it like 3 times through. Don't miss the start of this incredible new mini.
Oh no, you are right.
Okay, so it's
the last
okay.
line goes right back to it again.
So it must just be the part of the aesthetic of the comedy of just selling the fact that
repeating the multiverse, so another
yeah.
character keeps coming
So,
and coming.
I was reading it as a typo, but I was reading in the wrong comedy aspect. If it was Ryan North, I would have just caught on to it right away. But Alex Segura, I think he's done some Archie comics, so maybe that fits. But anyways, I'm into all the Spider Verse and all that stuff since the very beginning. I got that giant omnibus of all of those stories, so I'm definitely in for this. And there's a lot on the cover here, and I'm just zooming in to see if Silk is somewhere on there, but I don't know. I don't see Silk on there. Well, maybe she's one of the ones that are they'll be didn't make the cover. But yeah, I'm
Hey, I want to know about the Spider Cat.
right under the armpit there. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, you know what? There was that Marvel Meow thing. I wonder if that had
Oh
any.
yeah.
I wonder if that was part of it or something. But yeah. Anyways, I love Spider Man. I love Spider Verse related stuff. So Spider Society #1.
All right, Werewolf by Night Red Band edition #1.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Full Moon Rise, Werewolf Kill. Jack Russell has been trying to live a simple life, but in deadly and dramatic wake of the blood hunt, his life is about to be turned upside down in ways he never imagined, with new enemies hoping to extract a literal pound of flesh, and Jack unsure if he can be trusted around the old allies and a lost love. The original Werewolf by Night is in for the fight of his life, and he's in it alone. And then these red bands have been coming polybag. I didn't quite get with the first edition of Blood Hunt what was different. I mean, with it being polybag, you expect to have maybe a bunch of bad language, nudity, stuff like that. Didn't really see anything that was really offensive, but then someone messaged on my post and put that there was like 3 extra pages and stuff on there. So, but yeah, Werewolf by Night running off the blood storyline should be interesting. And then my last one is, you were done, right, Anthony?
Yep.
Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood #1 of 4. The rumors are true. An all-star lineup of writers and artists assembled to create the 40th anniversary of Spider-Man's iconic black costume, black, white, and blood style. J.M. DeMatteis returns to the pages of Craven's Last Hunt to tell a never-before-seen tale of Spidey's past. J. Michael Straczynski rips Peter Parker's and the symbiote's heart out, and Dustin Guyen's stunning take on the wall crawler will bring Spidey to uncharted heights against the backdrop of Dustin's groundbreaking visual style. Yeah, that's it for me for the Marvels, but happy to see Spidey in that style now.
Yeah, I must have missed the double check the My Comic Shop, and the Werewolf by Night's not listed on there at all. So I'll have to do some research to try to tack that onto the order.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why we do those episodes, because we point out things that we did not see, and there we go. All right, Katie, do you want to kick us off with the DC catalog?
Sure. So basically the only thing I saw in DC that would be like new or not regular is they are publishing their 1982 style guide. I suck at art, but I use style guides all the time in my professional life, so I just thought that was really cool and pretty interesting. I did a quick Amazon search, and it looks like there's other style guides out there, well, yeah, like the DC Comics Guide to Writing Comics or like drawing Superman, but never, I guess, like the official like company branded style guide for a year. I thought it was cool, kind of a professional interest. I don't know where I'd put it, but I feel like I could squeeze some space in between my Chicago manual style and the AP style guide, so that was pretty neat. The DC Comics style guide from 1982, coming soon to you in hardcover, details forthcoming.
Cool, cool. I was very excited to see this. I own this story in several different formats of reprints and omnibuses and what have you. But this is the House of Secrets facsimile edition, specifically for issue number 92. Has some awesome names with Bernie Wrightson and Len Wein there. And the reason why behind this one is because it involves the first appearance of Swamp Thing. There's no escape from the first ever appearance of Swamp Thing in this full facsimile reprinting of House of Secrets 92. Join your host, Abel, as he introduces the story of the original Swamp Thing, Alex Olson, and 3 other tales of DC horror. Yeah, I am out of all the versions of Swamp Thing, I'm one of those that, while the Alan Moore is, the saga of the Swamp Thing is the most praised and all that stuff, I really love the Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson original run on the character. And the other bonus about having this facsimile, not only with getting most likely the original ads and all that stuff, they're offering sketch cover versions of this facsimile. So the fact that we can have sketch cover versions of the House of Secrets, that's a cover that has been mimicked or homaged several times throughout comics. I know there's been Archie Comics ones like that, and there's so many. It's a very popular cover. Like if there's 10 famous covers in comics, it's definitely in top 10 if you ask me. And I am excited at the possibility of the sketch covers to kind of play around and have some fun with it. So that's the House of Secrets reprinting the original Swamp Thing story, which I love dearly. So jump over to Kirby.
Okay, I assume this is new stories, not what we read already, but Super Pets Special Bite Identity Crisis. The Super Pets are back, and this time they're all bite. Haley, the beloved bark-out star of Nightwing, finds herself to be a fish out of water when she arrives on Kent Farm. As our big city mutt tries to adjust to country living, she's shocked to discover a kennel of courageous critters is already waiting for her. Bitewing meets the Super Pets. And you might want to hold on tight because things are about to get hairy. Also featuring stories of Mishwolf and Mudhem, the dark side of the dog bed, the many pets of Damian Wayne. You'll have to squeak it to believe it. I assume that's stuff I haven't read before. So.
Yeah, I was looking at that too, and that's what I question it as well, but it seems like it's new stuff from what I understand. Cool, cool.
That's it for me for the DC Connect.
Okay, and was that everything for you as well, Katie, for DC?
I have one that's a maybe. It's Superman versus Muhammad Ali. It's a maybe for me because it looks really cool, but just trying to be budget conscious right now. But if you're interested in that and you do have room in your budget, it's going to be $15. And that one is a pretty cool comic, I think, to have. But other than that, nope, that's it for DC.
Okay, we're going to jump over to the giant catalog, and that's where we can skip around to any of the publishers. I say that because I am starting with my most anticipated comic that is coming out in the month of August, something that can be publicly talked about because here it is in print. We are talking about the brand new comic that is from Matt Fife and Matt Rogers, our friends that we had on the Crimson Cowl Comic Club, my friends over at Cartoonist by Night, creators of Happy Astronaut, with the book that I will very dramatically slowly announce the title of so I don't mispronounce it. Slaughter Otter. There we go. Slaughter Otter is a brand new book. Do you miss the days when comics were nothing but page after page of nonstop badass action? Well, good news. Those days return in this Senses-shattering first issue. Slaughter Otter is sent on a mission, recover the Leech Queen's stolen device, and slaughter everyone who gets in his way. But what happens when Slaughter gets double-crossed? What do you think? He lets his claws shink shink out. So, this is the brand new book from Matt and Matt, and I'm very excited for it. Now, if you go back to Happy Astronaut issue number 2, which I coincidentally had a pin-up in, but Slaughter Otter showed up in this comic for a first appearance. So part of the Happy Astronaut world, a little spin-off character. So I was going to flip around and show a little image of Slaughter Otter up there in the wrestling ring. And yeah, it's so this book is going to be fun. Matt Rogers has been picking up a lot of 90s comics, a lot of Rob Liefeld esque books to draw inspiration from, the kind of style that he's approaching. And he's said it before, saying that this is what he thinks is his greatest work so far. He's having a lot of fun with it. And I am picking up all of these covers, which has some from our friends. We got Troy Dungara in there, Jay Hammond, who is going to be an upcoming guest on Cartoonist by Night. Matt Rogers has several different covers, including a metal cover. Yes, a cover that is made out of metal. I told them, being like, unless it's Mike Allred, I don't see myself buying, a metal cover of anything unless my friends Matt and Matt are making a book called Slaughter Otter. So I am going to get that metal cover and see what kind of experiment that is. It was kind of ridiculous when they announced it and they were asked by the publisher if they wanted to do it. And they're just like, yes. So yeah, that's a thing that's going to exist. But I'm very excited to have that book out in the wild and read it. And so yeah, page 375 from Keenspot Entertainment, Slaughter Otter #1. Kirby?
Yeah, and of course I'll be getting that too. So we got Garfield #1 of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Garfield coming back with some new stuff. Fans of the feline with a ferocious appetite don't just have the Garfield movie to celebrate, but the first furry foray in a new 4-issue tie-in series. And to add yet another layer to the lasagna, this first issue features not just one story, but plenty of hilarious material for seconds. Done by Ryan Estrada and Sarah Graley and Exert Enius. So yeah, I'm really happy to see some new Garfield comics finally. I'm tired of buying the old repeats that I have lots of.
Yeah, I have that one on my list as well. I saw the recent movie that came out. I thought it was pretty fun, pretty adorable, pretty cute. It definitely, kind of going off the success of your baby Groot and your baby Yoda. You saw it in the trailers and the posters of a baby Garfield. That is just for the origin purposes. It's not an entire movie about baby Garfield, so it's not, it's not taken advantage of in the sense of like, all right, we're gonna sell just baby Garfield for this whole thing. But I thought it was pretty fun. I like the art style in that movie, and yeah, so I was excited to see Garfield in here as well. So, Katie?
Okay, so we have the latest volume in Spy Family coming out this summer. It's volume 12. We have Spy Family by Tatsuya Endo, and it's published by Viz Media. Without getting too deep into spoilers, it would appear there is a mole that has uncovered Operation Strix and Lloyd Forger's true identity. So we have some spy intrigue going on, of course. We have Sylvia, the handler, on our cover. So should be really fun and exciting. I have only good things to say about the series. It's been so good. It's available August 7th, 2024 for $12. Check it out.
Cool. Jump over to my next one as I skip past Garfield. Okay, here we go. And I gotta look at this page and see. Oh, yes, here we go. Two Dumb Dinos. This is from Titan Comics. Two Dumb Dinos. They're dumb, they're dinos. There's two of them. Welcome to the irreverently silly world of two dinos with their hooves and claws on the pulse of all things pop culture, referencing everything from BK Joes to Chinese spy balloons to missing top secret White House. Okay, I didn't read the synopsis here. To the missing top secret White House documents of the latest Hollywood blockbuster. They show a couple examples here. It looks like it says Simpsons meets SpongeBob SquarePants. Mark Hamill, who you may know from Batman the Animated Series and something called Star Wars. Star Wars. If you don't love comic strips that are widely inventive, absurd, minimalist, surreal, and very, very funny, then Two Dumb Dinos is not for you. I I was sold just when I saw those images and that title. They show some
Oh,
example of what this is. I never heard of this until this catalog, but I am fully on board for Two Dumb Dinos. Kirby,
Yeah, I was considering it, but I will wait to hear your review on it.
I'll
But yeah,
talk.
Universal Monsters, Frankenstein #1.
Yes.
A modern day horror visionary resurrects one of the most iconic monsters. Michael Walsh presents an electrifying new vision of the horror classic. Each issue of the limited series tells the shocking story behind one of the body parts used to create the unforgettable monster. In the original film, in this first issue, Dr. Henry Frankenstein begins his unholy quest to create life by robbing the grave of a decorated police officer. But little does he know that the corpse has a son who is mourning a father, and that this young boy will forever change Frankenstein's life. I love that they're going off the body parts. I can't wait to read this. Wasn't overly thrilled with the Dracula. I loved Creature of the Black Lagoon the way they did that, so I'm hoping this holds up too.
Yeah, that's on my list. I know those covers look pretty good, and Michael Walsh is awesome. So yeah, I'm definitely on board for that one as well.
Yeah,
Kate,
gets covers. I'll have to get at least 3.
yeah, they're doing now. Even Francesco Francavilla, who did I think the regular cover for Creature, if I'm not mistaken, but has done a new cover for the second printing that I didn't know about until he posted about it. I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna have to start buying second printing covers too. It's good stuff, good art. Katie.
all right. So I'm not sure if this is new or just a reprint, but we have Pink Floyd in comics, the hardcover. Do you really know Pink Floyd? This comics documentary retraces the history of the group from their meeting to their solo adventures of the artists. It has 28 chapters that's going to cover their famous albums, like, of course, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, and all the psychedelic trippy goodness you could ever want. It is available August 14th, 2024. It's $32.99. Well, my brother and I saw Roger Waters in concert about 7 years ago. And it was the coolest concert I have ever been to. I would love to see, it would be cool if the surviving band members could reconcile. I would love to be able to see them perform before they die because they are getting up there. Notwithstanding the fact that, they are very talented but very ego-driven people. So I feel like this book is going to be both very interesting and very drama-filled, but it's a biography of one of the most important and influential rock bands of the last 100 years. So Pink Floyd in comics, check it out.
Excellent. Staying over at Titan, something called Huge Detective #1. After a race of giants emerged from deep sleep beneath the earth, a bloody conflict ensued in what became known as the Omega Event. Eventually, a treaty is resolved and state of Brob Brobdingnag is created. I don't know what that word is, allowing humans and giants to coexist harmoniously. Okay, whatever. Yet tragedy threatens to shatter the peace, and an unlikely partnership is formed between detectives Tamaki and Giant. It's giant, but it's with a Y, so Giant. As their pair attempt to stop the criminal at large, they find themselves involved in a mystery bigger than either could imagine. But yeah, I love the concept of it. I like the just upfront title of Huge Detective because it's quite literal with having a giant detective and a standard human. And yeah, I'm not too familiar with the creators here, but I love that concept and idea. And I don't, run towards detective stories, but if it's involving a giant who is detecting crimes, I'm going to give it a shot. So it says Chinatown meets the BFG in an exciting new original series. Okay. They got a lot of good puns here. An all new detective noir of gigantic proportions. All right. Kirby.
Yeah, Chaotica, Spellbound, #1 one shot is by Brian Polito, Mike McLean, Allison Rodriguez, and Mike DeBelfo. Chapter 1 of Chaotica's story. In hopes of taming her unpredictable powers, Lady Death's daughter Chaotica journeys to Salem, Massachusetts, home of a shadowy society of witches. What she finds instead is a one-way ticket to a strange alternate Earth, a reality in which witches and warlocks rule humankind. This witch world appears to be a harmonious paradise, but soon Chaotica discovers looks can be oh so deceiving, featuring a special guest appearance by Lady Death. And it's a one shot, so I figured I'd check out the character a little more. So see what happens.
Cool. Jump over to Katie.
All right, just a quick update from my last one. It appears that Pink Floyd in comics is new, but there was also one called Rock and Roll Comics, the Pink Floyd experience that was re-released a few years ago. So just wanted to follow up on that. It's new, but the Rock and Roll Comics have been around for a while. My last pick from the big previews comic is Berserker, The Lost Book of B, #1. It's again written by Keanu Reeves with Matt Kint, and the cover and interior art is by Ron Garney. Check back to our back issues of our old episodes where we reviewed the Berserker series. I really enjoyed it, and it is one that I would definitely be willing to pick up again and learn more about this character B and his life all throughout history. That's going to be in shops on August 21st. And it will be $9.99. So it looks like it's going to be a oversized issue. And check it out and see if you like it too.
Excellent. You said that was the last one?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. We're getting more from the Bone Orchard Mythos, which I'm excited about, from Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. This is comes a new graphic novel in the bold and ambitious shared horror universe of the Bone Orchard Mythos. Far from Earth, on Mars, 7 members of a rescue team are looking for missing colleagues when they find darkness in the stars beyond scientific comprehension. Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino bring their terrifying supernatural vision beyond our planet and share the Bone Orchard mythos outside earthly gravity for a tale of extraterrestrial horror and thrills. So far, if I'm not mistaken, all of these Bone Orchard mythos stories have been very standalone. They're all part of a shared horror universe, but it's one of those things where I think they're just telling all of these different stories in these different locations and possibly bringing it into a close down the road. But I know they had a huge plan for it. I love their run on Old Man Logan. That's where I started seeing their writing and art style combination take off. They did Gideon Falls, and then they started doing the Bone Orchard stuff between miniseries and single issues, as well as original graphic novels. Each one, I think, is it's its own thing, at least at this point. So I was excited to see another one of those. And as long as those two are working together, I'm pretty much on board. So that is the Bone Orchard Mythos Starseed, which I don't remember if I said Starseed, but Starseed hardcover. Kirby?
Chi, Return of the Warrior #1 by Billy Tucci, Stephen Peroz, and Gardenia Lima. Manhattan is gripped, a series of gorgeous copycat she killings as escaped murderer Masahiro Arashi once again continues his notorious crimes of 25 years earlier. This forces single mother Anna Ishikawa to pick up the naginata once again and stop the psychotic samurai before he can consummate a murderous destiny. a destiny that ends with Anna's own daughter. I like that they're bringing she back finally, so I will have to see where this story's going.
All right. Moving on to Archie Comics, The Cursed Library Alpha. This is it. This is the moment our horror one-shots have led to. The Cursed Library. When we last left off in Madam Satan, Hell on Earth, Jinx has the former queen of the underworld trapped in the mysterious library as her father bestowed demon powers have testified. There might be intestines in these stories, we'll see, but intensified. To stop Jinx from becoming like her father, her best friend Donnie Malloy must rescue and convince Madam Satan to guide her through hell itself to find the one thing that can possibly save her friend's soul. Jinx's mom. There's a bunch of other stuff in here, but yeah, we say it every single time we cover the previous catalog, just taking all these the horror one shots they've been doing. And now I have yet to read The Judgment Day that just came out. It's literally on the front of the pile as I'm looking. But now they're starting to do some mini series with these horror titles, which I'm getting excited for, just because I started with The Afterlife with Archie and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So I'm hoping that they're kind of building enough of their horror one-shot world that they're committing to, several part miniseries at least. So bunch of amazing covers. Robert Hack is on there, so that gets my money right away. But yep, that's the Cursed Library Alpha from Archie Comics.
Yeah, I'll be getting that. I'm really looking forward to it. They had the free comic day special of it this year, and it was such a fun story. Just watching Jinx mess with Madam Satan and stuff in the library. It's how it all crossed over with everything. So
good stuff.
All right, I got UFO Mushroom Invasion graphic novel by Shirakawa Marina. A flying saucer crashes deep in the mountains of Japan. Wary of the hyper-intelligent beings they find inside, the government hides from the public all news of the alien craft. But it's not the strange visitors themselves that they should be afraid of. The real danger is the parasitic spores smuggled aboard. Will Earth survive the UFO mushroom invasion? This was originally published in 1976 in Shirakawa Marina's UFO Mushroom Invasion. It is a masterpiece of sci-fi horror pulling on his deep knowledge of Japanese folklore and the supernatural. I love when I get into Japanese folklore, so I think I'm going to pick that one up.
Excellent. Staying with Archie, I just talked about it, and they're putting all these together with the Archie Horror Presents Terrifying Tales, the Anthology Collection. The chilling world of Archie Comics continues to terrify with this collection of 7 tales featuring final girls, grotesque gourmands, frightening fandoms, summer camp slashers, and more. Terrifying Tales is a feast for any horror-hungry fans with everything from psychological thrillers to dimension-bending sci-fi. So yeah, everything that we've been talking about, these one shots that I think we've talked about most of them on the club here. They're putting them all together, which is just making sense with the Cursed Library coming out. So August 14, 160 pages, collecting all of these. They were so good that I am debating if I buy the trade. I assume it's a paperback because I would buy. They did a hardcover treatment for, I believe, Afterlife and Sabrina. But I'll double check because if they do a hardcover version of this, then I think I'll get that. But yeah, I don't think I see the information. I'll have to look online a little deeper. But that is the Terrifying Tales. So if you've heard us talk about these over the last couple years from the Comic Club and you never sought them out, now you can just get them all in one bundle. That is the Terrifying Tales from Archie Horror. Kirby?
Yeah, Cruel Universe.
Yeah.
Compelled to oblivion, driven to entropy, all life in our cosmos can only end in one place: complete annihilation. For the first time in 70 years, the limitless fury of EC Comics rages back to life to shred the very fabric of the universe itself and wrench bizarre tales of time and space into our dimensional plane. It doesn't look like it's too deep into any storylines, it just focuses on people. But yeah, a lot of artists, writers, and a bunch of different covers and bringing the EC style back. So That's always exciting.
Yeah, that one is on my list as well. Once again, staying with Archie, we have Hardak the Mystic. This is another one shot. All John Carty ever wanted was to be recognized for his talents at magic tricks and sleight of hand. He's talented, but not enough to get noticed until he comes across, unbeknownst to him, a cursed ruby. This ruby grants John the power of invisibility. As Kardak the Mystic, he performs feats no one can with his magic. Unfortunately for him, going invisible isn't just a trick of the eyes, but rather entering another realm parallel to our own, and something inside that realm wants to use Kardak to enter our world for dark purposes. Yeah, Archie has done this time and time again, taking these characters that you've probably never heard of that started in print in the late 30s, early 40s. And I assume Kardak is another one of those. I brought up a Google search real quick to see if I can get some sort of date. There is some information on the next page, so I might talk about it there. But I'm gonna guess this character debuted decades upon decades ago in a random Archie publication or something, because they kind of dig deep and take a character that has not been around for quite some time, and then they do a new updated spin on it. So I will be getting that as well. Kirby.
All right, Woodstake #0. Time to release on the 55th anniversary of the Woodstock Music Festival. Sink your teeth into Woodstake, a brilliant horror comedy about 3 days of peace, music, and blood. In the summer of 1969, an old and deadly vampire awakens as hippies unknowingly gather for the historic Woodstock Festival. Amidst the black backdrop of peace signs and protest anthems, festival goers are hunted in a chilling but hilarious adventure filled with music, mayhem, and vampires tripping hard on drug-infused hippie blood. Woodstake is a must-have series, masterfully blending 1960s counterculture, psychedelic imagery, vampire mythology, and fighting humor into something truly special. Prepare for a wild ride of laughs and frights in Woodstake. That just sounds hilarious.
That sounds really good. Who's publishing that?
That's a company I don't even know. SHP? It looks like.
Okay.
What was the title again?
Woodstake #0.
Steak.
WOODSTAKE. It's done by Darren S. Cape and Philippe and Noel Kroll,
Okay.
which I don't know those names.
Oh, pretty groovy concept though. I might check that out.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
To follow up on our Kardak character, did some Google searching and found out that he has 27 appearances. And I was right that it was the early 40s. It was August of 1941. So when this comes out, it's got some sort of, anniversary by the month. Whatever 2024 minus 1941 is. So Top Notch Comics Volume 18, or Volume 1 number 18. I've never heard of Top Notch Comics, but it deals with the Black Hood with all of the Archie superhero characters. That was from the MLJ publication of Archie Comics before they changed their name to Archie Comics. So yeah, that's when they had their whole superhero line. And so this character appeared 27 times starting in 1941, and now they're bringing him back into continuity with kind of an interesting take. So that was a follow up on that one there. And the last one on Archie is getting a lot of the purchases here this coming month. This one I am super excited for. I will save the creative talent for the end of this lineup here. Archie, the Decision. Archie finally decides. At long last, the answer to the question generations of fans have asked will be answered. Who will Archie choose, Betty or Veronica? And I'll skip this here. Everyone in Riverdale is waiting for his choice, and all of your favorites, from Josie and the Pussycats to Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and even Hot Dog, are joining in on the fun. No matter who you want him to choose, you definitely don't want to miss this all-new full-length story. Coming out at the end of August, $3.99, 32 pages, Archie finally decides. I'm sure they've probably done certain stories of this time and time again, But what grabs my attention, not only do we have art by an Archie favorite of mine, Dan Parent, but writing the script is Tom King. Tom King of Marvel and DC Comics and, Love Everlasting and all of the other stuff that he does in independent comics, but one of the big writers out of the last, 10 years probably at this point. He's always been on record whenever he talks about on Word Balloon with John Suntress. He's always talking about, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I love Archie. I've got so many Archie. I get my kids into Archie. They're always reading Digest. And he must have said it enough times for them to catch wind of it because now he is writing Archie, which what I assume is for his first time. But yeah, an all new full length adventure. And yeah, having Tom King and Dan Parent together on an Archie comic book, that is, I was floored when I saw that news. So I am definitely getting Archie the Decision.
Yeah, I'm getting that one too, and I hope they both kick him in the EE and just walk away. No decision for you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Tom King, his writing style is very strong when it comes to setting up a story and finishing it, 50 to 100 issues later. Like, he's very good at the long game. Everything he does is very orchestrated, even if it's a 12-issue series or whatever. And I'm very interested to see what he's going to do with a literal one shot with Archie Comics. So, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, my last one. You might have mentioned it in the past or something, but it's worth re-mentioning. We got Yogg's Volume 2, The Gouache War. Watch out. The evil gouache monsters are invading Cray City. Their evil leader, the Gouache, is set upon revenge, and Kraby Kraynobi may be the only one who can stop her. Continuing the story events from where Yogg's The Kraynobi Tales left off, we find our Cray heroes thrown into a gouache war. This action-packed adventure of good versus evil tells us more about the Cray characters and reveals much more of the legendary Cray lore and the mysteries that surround the land of Yogg's. What is the Cray Stick of Joy? How angry is the Angry Stick? What magical mysteries do they possess? One thing is for sure, if the sticks touch, it will mean destruction and devastation for all. What challenges lie in front of the Crays? Why won't Weezard use the Mystic Orb? What does the giant green gorilla play in all this? Will the Cray cousins find the Cray Stick of Joy in time to save Cray City? New characters, new secret origins, questions answered in this epic tale of Cray proportions. Join us on this 30 years in the making epic journey by famous cartoonist Art Baltazar. So happy. I love the Crays.
Yeah, there's a follow up to the first one, which Kirby had mentioned in the solicit there with the first Yogg's books. They came out last August, and his plan was to do, I think he has a 3-book deal, and he had planned to just come out with one every August. And so far, that is true. And when I look at that, I've got to make a note here because last time there was a party release for it. So I'm sketching that into my schedule because very good chance he will gather everybody at Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie to celebrate more gags. So, but yeah, this is the first time it's been in the catalog, so excited to add that to the list. And that was your last one, you said?
Yep.
I've got a couple of tabs, so I'll burn through them here real quick. We've got Molly and the Bear, an Unlikely Pair graphic novel based on the beloved comic strip Bear With Me by Bob Scott. The lighthearted odd couple middle grade novel is about a girl and her very best friend, an 800-pound scaredy bear. When Bear wanders into an 11-year-old Molly's life, she knows she's just met her new bestie, loyal, sweet, inquisitive, and terrified of almost everything. Bear makes a great new friend, and he's not scary at all. But try telling that to the rest of the world. Molly eventually convinces her mom and dad to let Bear stay with them, and showing everyone else that Bear isn't dangerous. Not to mention assuring Bear that he isn't in constant danger is going to take some work. Lucky for Bear, Molly doesn't give up easily. I love Molly and the Bear, An Unlikely Pair. It's a fun title, but looking at that cover looks like a ton of fun. Seeing the bear jumping into the little girl Molly's arms and a real scaredy cat bear, basically. And I like that concept, and I'm on board for all of those kind of middle grade, all ages kind of books. They're always a lot of fun. All right, from one, giant hairy thing to another giant hairy thing, we have Sweetums from the Muppets, who is my very favorite character from the Muppets, coming with Kermit's nephew Robin, who is hanging down there on the bottom. A 9-inch tall figurine, deluxe action figure. Now, I think this is a reproduction, a reissue, because many years ago they came out with what I think is this exact one, because I stupidly had missed it somehow, and I would only see it at the conventions, and I saw one for $50 one time, and now in the aftermarket that was cheap. This just retails at regular price, which I think was around that $20 mark. And I remember looking at it at a con in Chicago and just being like, $50. I'm like, I'll find it cheaper sometime. And every time I saw it, if I was even lucky to see it, it just kept going up and up and up and up. And I'm like, I'm never going to get this figure. They don't make any other Sweetums. And now I saw this, and yeah, it's what I think is a complete, just another issue of it, another reproduction. So yeah, it's already pre-ordered, and Amazon tells me it's going to come, I think, in April of 2025. I think they tell me.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm waiting for that. It says coming winter 2024 or 25. But yeah, I think Amazon said April or May of next year. So here we go. Just have to wait one extra year. But I have Sweetums on pre-order, and I was excited to. I was so excited because I'm like, this is the one thing that got away from me, and I'm happy that I can finally add that to the collection. Uh, Yes, here's another thing too. I pre-ordered this a while ago, but this is the first time in the catalog. Um, Let's Go, Coco graphic novel. When Coco joins the school basketball team, she's ready to rock. Joining the team means new friends, which she's desperate for, but it also means dealing with bossy teammates, confusing crushes, and less than flattering new nicknames. And Coco suspects that when the team's all-star player, Maddie, calls her Shrimp, it's not actually a joke. Coco realizes she's going to need some new moves on and off the court, but her resilience to put in the ultimate test is put to the ultimate test when a courtside catastrophe threatens to put an end to the new world she's worked so hard to be a part of. Available in softcover and hardcover. Now, the writer and artist is, she goes by Coco Fox, which I think is the coolest name in the world. Coco Fox is someone I was brought attention to through Challengers Comics in Chicago. They've hosted her art there before. She's done mini comics. She has a cool print shop with some of her designs on stickers and mugs and such. And I followed her art journey for greater part of the last 5 to 10 years. And I think this is her first like full on graphic novel. And yeah, and I'm very excited to pick that up. Like I said, I think it was available for pre-order for quite some time, but it's the first time in the catalog. So that's Let's Go, Coco. And yeah, it's super fun, and that might be something too. I might have to reach out to her and see if she wants to show up on Crimson Cowl, because I was very excited when she's been teasing this. She has a very unique art style, and her doodling and stuff like that, and also she has a very awesome life where she always participates in the Iraqi horror picture show productions, like very small productions wherever she lives. They must just have like an ongoing thing, because there's always a bunch of these cool like community theater things that she does. And I know at past Halloween events, she's went as Weird Al Yankovic. So everything that Coco Fox does and is and produces is everything that is up my alley. So
What was the name of that one again?
it's called Let's Go, Coco, and that's from Harper Alley. And but yeah, I'm excited just because I'm a big fan of the artist Coco Fox. So. Okay, and Kirby mentioned Cruel Universe, so that was another one of there. And then, right opposite of Biker Mice from Mars #2 is Sesame Street #1. Stroll along Sesame Street and join Grover, Elmo, Cookie Monster, and more of your favorite furry friends in this brand new comic book series for readers of all ages. Grover wakes up to another beautiful day on Sesame Street, but he soon discovers that his friends each have a problem to solve before they can enjoy it. Read along in this brand new comic book as Grover does what he does best, lends a helping hand. After all, the most fun on Sesame Street comes from working together. So yeah, Sesame Street has a 4-issue comic book series. I'm not sure if that's something they've dabbled in. Like I'm sure they have enough, storybooks, chapter books, and stuff like that. But proper comic books. I'm going to do some research on that. But that just caught my attention, being like, all right, I'll check that out. And the last one on my list in this catalog is something that I have to look to see what.
Now, did you get that Fear Street or whatever, that Sesame Street evil thing, the evil puppet parody thing?
Yeah, it's not Fear Street, but it's something like Survival Street.
Survival Street. They have a new one in this catalog.
I saw that. Now I'll get into this. There's certain, and this goes with Muppet comics too, that being a big fan of the Muppets and everything, there was a certain time when I just couldn't get myself into comics about Muppet characters. It took until I had met Guy Gilchrist, and then I got all of those. I talked about him, his newspaper comic strips of the Muppets from the '80s, which I'm still crossing the fingers that they do an omnibus collection of. It wasn't until then that I started to really get into some of the Muppets in comic book form. They've done some longer stories and such like that, but so reading the Survival Street, I think I read the first two. I think I just couldn't get into it, even though I was into that Melissa McCarthy movie that came out. That was I forgot what it was called, but it's a very R-rated, puppet murder detective thing. That was funny, in a movie context and everything. So the Survival Street felt like that, but I just couldn't. I think it deserves another read, and I need to approach it again with. But I think I just read the first two of that one, but
yeah, I remember you talking about the first one. That's why I didn't know if you followed the whole thing or not.
Yeah, and I forget if I brought that up in an actual review or I talked about it off air. Cause all I know is that I didn't read beyond like an issue 1 or 2. But oh yeah, here's I was wondering why I bookmarked this as the last thing. Coco Leche or Choco Leche #1. When the son of the most famous luchador in Slam 1 is put in a coma, the Choco Leche team must begrudgingly come back to find the person responsible while saving the city from a giant bedpan monster. Enjoy the world premiere first issue of the non-stop series, followed by the entire story collected soon after in one volume. Well, I didn't read that part, but maybe I'll do an issue 1 and then buy the collection. But Coco Leche or Choco Leche, I like the title. It looks fun. There's a cover B that looks kind of. I like the design style on there. I'm not sure what the art style looks on the inside, but it looks like they're the ongoing theme of the last handful of years of a lot of wrestling comics, and this seems like another fun one there, luchador themed, and yeah, I can't tell if it's like an age range and how crazy it's going, but it looks fun. So that is possibly Coco Leche or Choco Leche.
Yeah, another one I was considering, but like you said, it's going to come out with the full thing and right away. So
yeah, I didn't read that part until I got to it here, and so yeah, I got to make a decision, see what I'm doing. So now we at least know that our buying the single issues isn't going to affect anything because they have a plan to do it this way. So.
Yes, they already got the complete ones ready.
All right, that was it for the previous preview. We could barely cover everything because there's so many pages and so all these different catalogs. I'm sure Kirby either has the episodes banked or they're coming up, but Kirby will go through.
They're banked, and it's going to be a whole new format now. Previews is going to be busted up into probably 3 or 4 episodes because I want to keep them to like half hour instead of doing a 2-hour mega episode. So.
Yeah. So yeah, check out Under the Cowl of MS for more Kirby takes on the catalogs, but then always recommend reaching out to your local comic book shop and your preferred online retailer because we cannot cover everything, but we'll cover some of the things that are interesting to us from the get-go. So get those pre-orders in, everybody, the June catalogs for August and beyond, especially for Slaughter Otter, which I'm super excited to check that book out. So there is a 4-page preview that they put out there to kind of really market it and get, news sites talking about it, doing a little extra legwork to get word on their new book and stuff. So so that stuff's out there.
Got it when you got $100 covers.
Yeah. Pretty much. And I saw something because they're doing another metal cover for a different Keen Spot book. And in that one, I saw that they're doing like, oh, they're only making 6 of them or something. And I got nervous because I didn't see any limit on the Slaughter one. So literally after we record this, I'm sending my order in because I'm like, I don't, not that, other, fans, like all of a sudden it's like me and a couple of the other, people within the group buy them or something. So yeah, I got a little nervous there where at first I'm like, okay. They got very excited when they're like, you're really going to buy one? I'm like, yeah, why not? So like there's worse things I could buy. So all right.
You cut your hand on the corner of it.
Yeah, they do have some like blood splattered covers and stuff like that. So I may accidentally add that to the metal cover. We'll find out. I'm more curious than anything. So
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, that's going to do it for the news. That's going to do it for this episode. Very quickly for plugs. CrimsonCowl.com. Go there for info and original webcomics. If you want to listen to the audio version, you can subscribe to Crimson Cowl Comic Club on iTunes. Please subscribe, rate, and review to help out the show. If you want the video version, which is I think is the preferred experience, putting in the editing and all the fun little stuff that we put in there, Crimson Cowl Comic Club over on YouTube for the video version. And Kirby has a spin-off, Under the Cowl of MS, if you want to tell people what's going on over at Under the Cowl of MS.
All the same old goodies, unpackings, reviews, previews, all that good stuff is going to be on there. So we got pretty much at least 5 episodes a week coming out at the moment. So check it out. Lots of goodness.
Excellent. So subscribe to Under the Cowl of MS wherever you are on the internet, YouTube, and all that stuff, and follow them there. Let's see. Upcoming event. Crimson Cowl. Actually, this one's just for me. So I'll say my other plugs first. Anthony Laatsch on Facebook and Instagram. LAATSCH are my art accounts. And then Cartoonist by Night over on YouTube is the website name. When I start losing my mind, that means we're almost done with the episode here. Cartoonist by Night over on YouTube. Myself, Troy Dungara, Matt Fife, Matt Rogers, D. Brad Gibson. Our most recent episode was with our friend Chris O'Connell, who is from the Oh Yeah Comics community down there. Awesome artist, and we talk about his life as an artist as well as the life and work of Darwin Cook. So that's an episode that's out there. And we have another episode that may or may not be out by the time I say this. It's coming out very shortly. I'm almost done editing it. It is with Greg Schmidt from Schmidt and Giggle. We had him on the video version of Crimson Cowl Comic Club as a Mighty Con Milwaukee recap from last September. So check that out. We had a bunch of our artist friends joining in for a recap of Mighty Con, and Greg is one of those as well. So he jumps on to Cartoonist by Night, and he picked X-Men the Animated Series. So we talked about X-Men the Animated Series, mostly talking about the classic one. We don't get into spoilers of any of the new stuff, X-Men 97 over on Disney Plus. And the one thing I'll show to tease it, I think I have the card here too. Yep, here it is. I'll show it here. Normally I don't do an art reveal of what I did on the show, but this one is a cool little connection, and maybe if you haven't checked out Cartoonist by Night, maybe this will be a sell. So I went back into a folder I had from the year 92, 93, back when the original X-Men animated series was coming out, and I knew I had an art folder when I drew a bunch of X-Men characters. So, young middle school, grade school version of Anthony drew Beast with a baseball
Aw.
bat because the X-Men always played softball and baseball and all that stuff. And so here's a drawing that I did back in roughly 1993. And I decided to update that drawing on Cartoonist by Night with another
Oh.
drawing of Beast. I got to finish coloring the bat and then shading and stuff, but it was a cool experiment to take a 1993 drawing versus 2024 and update that there. So there we go. That's a little tease of what was worked on during Cartoonist by Night. But I
That's
show
really
off.
nice.
Yes, thank you. I show off a bunch of drawings, a lot of Beast drawings, as well as other X-Men characters going back from my art folder from however many decades ago that is now. So yeah, that is it for the advertisement. Cartoonist by Night over on YouTube once again. That is going to do it for this episode. Thank you for checking out. Please tell a friend if you enjoy this show. Let somebody know about it. Subscribe, comment, all of that fun stuff. Definitely helps the show. And that is going to do it for this episode. This whole time, I forgot to think of a closing.
I've been playing with a dollhouse with a cat and a panda.
And I've been going to very distant lands with Jake the dog and Finn the human.
To be continued.
Thank you, Slimer.